Last night, I had a nightmare about breaking my intermittent fasting routine, which is like a really funny thing to say now that I woke up and then I thought about it. But at the time, it was actually pretty scary because, so in my dream, I was sleeping on my bed and I woke up, but I didn't really wake up because it's still in the dream. And I started to feel really hungry and really strong urge to crave sugary food. And then so I started to search all around my house for sugary food, and then I found some snacks and I started like eating them. But it was right after I woke up, which means I probably broke my intermittent fasting routine because I'm supposed to skip breakfast at all times and only eat lunch at around noon or later. So after I ate the food, I feel really guilty, and I feel very down because I broke my routine, and then I just cannot see myself as the same person anymore afterwards. Now I thought about it this morning, and then I realized it's always been my fear that one day I will like kind of fall off. One day I will become sloppy in following my routine, in becoming a better person. Because always, since I think like second year high school, I've always been trying to improve myself on a daily basis. Every single day I follow a specific routine, and then every single day I try to be slightly better than the day I was before in a lot of different tasks. So recently I've been started doing intermittent fasting like from 7 months ago, and has been helping me a lot with mental clarity and eliminating brain fog, and then be more focused throughout the day. But for the longest time, I even tried some other self-improvement techniques too. So for example, with my sleeping schedule, I have been keeping it consistent since my first year of university, which was 4 years ago. So I have been at least sleeping on a single schedule without break for 4 years. That's amazing to me. And then hopefully, like in the long run, all these will benefit me, because I can see people my age are starting to fall off already. So the theory goes like this, right? So middle-aged man, a middle-aged person's look doesn't really depend on his genetics at all. His genetics, his background, his upbringing at all. It all comes down to how good he take care of his body and how good he take care of his mind. Because throughout all these years, from childhood, teenage years, to middle age, there's so much time in between. And if you become a little bit sloppy throughout the days, every single day, eventually it will become very sloppy. And your body will react to that, will reflect kind of the work you're putting. Now, if you become slightly better every single day throughout all these years, it will snowball. Your health, your mental clarity, and your mental health and physical health will skyrocket after some time, because you have been keeping yourself in a very strong training routine. Maybe you sleep early every day. Maybe you go to gym every day. Maybe you do intermittent fasting, or all the above, which is what I do. Then, throughout all these years, you will become so much better as a person. So much better as a person than the rest of the world, which will eventually fall off because most people don't pay attention to this. Most people are sloppy. Most people are lazy. Most people are addicted to instant gratification, because everyone are addicted to something these days. Whether it's social media, whether it's porn, whether it's good food. Everyone's addicted to some sort of instant gratification. And most people are addicted to way more than one, of course. If you stay away from any of these, like if you stay away from any instant gratification that could make you addicted, then throughout the time, you will become such a better version of a human being than literally the rest of the world, which will make a huge difference along the way, in the long run. Maybe today you wouldn't see the huge difference, because maybe today, like, your friends that eat junk food are still maybe as popular as you, and maybe making as much money as you. But I promise you, like in 30 years or 20 years, it'll be a huge difference. The effort you put in today, the work you put in today, the routine you put yourself through today will pay off tremendously. So my greatest fear is for me to lose that faith. It's for me to lose that drive to become better and to accept my life as an average person, which will kill me. I'm so afraid of becoming mediocre. I'm so afraid of becoming just a general population, just a data, fall into the void of nothingness, of meaninglessness. I'm afraid of that, and that is my nightmare, reflected in my nightmare. Some other fear I had growing up, I think the first time I ever feel this specific fear is when I was walking past a university dormitory in Ningbo, China, when I was in middle school. So my grandparents, I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandparents' neighborhood is very close to a few universities. Every morning we go out to get breakfast, so we sometimes walk past the university buildings. And then one day, for some reason, I was waiting for my grandma or something, and I started paying close attention to the university dormitory building. So this is a very tall apartment building that has super close together windows. So every window is super close to each other, and then you can see like dirty laundry, or like laundry that look not appealing, hanging off every single window. And then you can see inside every single window, the rooms are messy, and then people are living close quarter, like people are living in close proximity to each other. And then it just, all of a sudden, like this huge wave of fear and just kicked in, like just flowed into my brain. And then at that moment, I was so afraid that one day I will grow up and go to a university and living in this kind of dormitory. I wouldn't know what to do with my life, because every single room reflected the exact same thing. If you're living there, you're part of the system. If you're living there, you're part of everyone else. You have no fundamental difference with everyone else. And that's the issue, because what kind of life is that? Maybe you will become happy. Maybe you will be happy actually when you're very similar to your peers. When you're living in close quarter, maybe if you really like your roommate, you will even get joy from living with them. But it's not about joy. At this point, it's not about happiness, because you become so similar to each other that you no longer have the differences that make you valuable to society, that make you valuable to yourself. Because individuality is very important. Individuality is what makes you stand out. Individuality is what will make you the person you are. Without individuality, there's nothing. If you're just part of the organism, which in one way or another, because we're participating in the society at large, we are a part of the organism, the bigger organism. We're just an organ. We're just a cell in this system. But if you become too much engulfed in this, if you become too settled in your current state, you'll eventually just become a data again. You'll eventually just become one person of the population, of the human population. No one will care, or no one will know about you. And that will be it. Throughout your entire life, you live the exact same lifestyle as someone you know, as your parents, as your grandparents. And ideally your parents and grandparents are not living that life, but I know a lot of people's parents and grandparents do. So you will become just like them. You will live the same life path, and eventually have the same issue with life. Eventually have the same pain, same disease, this kind of stuff. And that scared me, because from middle school, like I was looking at the dormitories building, and then I just see the future, and it's so scary. If I continue on at the pace that I was in middle school, and I don't become amazingly stand out, like I don't become the number one on my entire school, or I don't become the number one on my entire city, I will become someone just like them, just like these university students living in close quarter dormitories and hanging out dirty laundries every day, wet laundries. They go to a school for the majority of their time, come back to homework, and then do laundries. Sleep, not much, and wake up the next morning and repeat the exact same thing. And then there's so many years of future that they have ahead of them, which in their case, most of them will choose to live a lifestyle of 9-to-5 jobs. Most of them will go on to repeat the almost exactly the same pattern of life. They live eventually meaningless lives. That scared me as a middle school kid. Like, that shake me to the bones. And then after that, I just told myself, whatever I do, I will not become one of them. I will not be content of what I have today. I will always be striving for more, even if it means paying for me, even if it means I cannot go to parties at night because my sleeping schedule ends at 11:30. Like, I sleep at 11:30, so I cannot go out to events and parties at midnight. I cannot go out partying. I cannot do a lot of things. And I have to stay hungry in a way throughout the majority of the morning. Also, like, it's not too bad for me right now because intermittent fasting is one of those things that when you get used to it, it's pretty simple. It just you're just in the flow of it. But I can accept all these things, and I will try new things. Because my girlfriend told me recently that she wanted to try cold showering, so doing cold showers. I tried it before, but I failed because that one for me is a little bit too extreme. But there's no such thing. I now promise myself that I will try cold showering, and I'll succeed. Because I want to seek discomfort. I want to make my life uncomfortable. There's a lot that you can gain from being uncomfortable, because when you are in a state of despair, when you are down bad, one day maybe something will happen and then your life will be hell. Maybe you had a car accident, maybe you had a major disease, maybe you just lost your job, lost everyone, maybe you lost your immigration status. One day these things will happen. And if I don't get my mind tough enough, if I don't get my mind tough enough to prepare for that today, then if that happens, I will be destroyed. But I don't want to be destroyed, so I keep myself engaged in some sort of hardship every single day. There's always something hard that I do throughout the day. Now hopefully that prepares me for greater disasters. Some of my other fear is losing social connections. That's also one of my other fears. Because I understand myself in a way that I think I'm capable. If I'm given nothing, I can probably work from the bottom and kind of like rise up again. So even in different scenarios, I could become successful. But one of my biggest fears is losing social connections, because I care about people in my life. I care about the relationship they cultivate with me. And fundamentally, I want to give them the best. I want to protect them. I want to give them the best life as well. I kind of want to show them the way. I have this like guy friend. I think when I first met him, he's in a very bad place in his life. I wouldn't say really bad, but he's not in a great place in his life. He's very timid, and he doesn't want to open up socially. And I'm really pleased to tell you that today he's actually super open to talk to people, and he has confidence now. Also, on surface nothing changed, but inside Teespring, something's different. And I'm so happy for him for that. And maybe I played a role in making that change inside of him. If that's the case, I would be really proud. If not, I'm still proud of him for achieving what he did couldn't before. So for me, social connection is very important. I really, really like all my friends, and I really, really believing that they can succeed in life one day, and they will go on and make great things. So I feel afraid of losing the connections, which is also something I can work on actively. I can start to engage with them more frequently, even just when I don't see them physically. I maybe write them an Instagram letter, Instagram message, or even better, I write them a physical letter, because that's something I like to do nowadays, just to compose physical letters and then just give it to them when I see them. I think it's a super nice gesture, and hopefully I can keep more friends with me. Also, I know part of the process of going into society, part of the structure is to leave a lot of people or friends behind. But the thing is, I don't want to do that. I want to help everyone succeed. I want to connect a lot of people as part of our community, because I just think communities are so important these days, and one cannot strive without community. One cannot strive without people that care for them. One cannot strive without a lot of friends. So that's what I want to do about that fear of mine. I think you might have noticed this. All throughout my fears, I have some sort of solution to fix them. So for example, the fear of falling off my schedule, I would just maintain my schedule. So recently, like my friend is having a birthday party, actually tomorrow night, from 9:30 p.m. to like late, like midnight, 1 a.m. and stuff. So normally I would say, yeah, like I would like to do it because you're my close friend and I like to be there for you from your birthday party. It's a surprise party, so she doesn't actually know about this. But normally I would just go there and then be very happy, like to stay late. But now I think about it, like it's not worth it to stress myself to kind of like lose my schedule over something like this. So I'll say hi still, like I'll go there at 9:30, but I'll Uber home and then I'll sleep still at 11:30. So that's one way of me combating it. I'll fight my urge of staying later to enjoy the party. Instead, I'll give myself more strength and happiness. This happiness is not instant gratification. This happiness is a long-term, steady happiness that I gain from maintaining my routine, because I know along the way, one day this will snowball into me having a better health from a lot, pretty much everyone in my age. So that's my goal with that fear. I want to combat it and I want to fight that fear. Also, for the fear of becoming mundane, becoming average, I also am actively fighting that fear by always trying to do new things, always trying to seek discomfort, always trying to push myself in different areas. Also sometimes I feel like things I do are hard. Because a lot of people, like, they don't think I have hard, I find what I do hard, but I do. Like sometimes in a lot of things, I find them very challenging. For example, keeping a very active schedule. It's actually kind of against my personality. I still do it because it's uncomfortable. It will improve me. So for example, my personality normally, I like to have a lot of time to relax and chill. Actually, I'm not the most industrious person by nature, but I'm pushing it. If you don't know me and you see what I do, you will pretty much just assume I'm super industrious because I have all these things in my planner that I want to do, that I want to achieve, and I am actually achieving them actively. But that's not because I'm by nature more industrious than you. I'm pretty sloppy actually, by nature, because I just like enjoying good things in life, relax, walk in the nature, something like that. But I still try actively to improve myself, to experience harder tasks, to complete harder tasks, to combat that fear. And lastly, for the fear of losing all my friends, losing all my connections, I try actively to reach out to them and then engage with them one way or another to make them still feel welcomed. And then I also try to improve myself by reading a lot like social psychology books on how to like maintain friendship and then like make new friends, things like this, to actively combat that fear of losing everyone in my life. Now all three of these fear, to a greater extent, it's all like unreasonable because it's very unlikely that one day I will become super hungry in the morning and then I'll start choking on food like the way my nightmare went. But honestly, they all came from somewhere. Although they're unrealistic fears, they all come from somewhere. And what I want to do is, I now know where they're coming from, and now I can combat all these fears and become a better version of myself by actually having these fears, so that it can motivate me to do greater things, to perform greater tasks, so that I don't become something that I'm afraid of. Thanks so much. Those are my greatest fears. Thanks so much. See you in the next.